Witch Nightlight Polymer Clay Sculpture Tutorial by HotPinkZebraPaper. And in this video is going to be part 3, where I show you how to do all of the fabrication. So that's going to be things like adding her hair, making her clothing and her hat, and adding the feathers to her stick. And so that's what we're going to be doing here. And I'm also going to show you how to put the entire thing together. So how I attach the cauldron to the base and all of that good stuff. So the first thing I did is I just took hot glue and I made a little lip around the hole on my base. This is going to give some height between the base and the cauldron. And then I have this glue called liquid nails, and I mixed a little bit of red paint into that. And I use that sort of applying it with a dabbing motion to create flames beneath the cauldron. Added more liquid nails on top of that, set down the cauldron, more liquid nails, set down the bubbling brew, more liquid, and then the rim of the cauldron. For her hair, the first thing is I took some Aleene's tacky glue and I put that on the end of some wool fiber that you would use for needle felting, and then I braided it, and then I took some more of that glue and I sealed down the ends, and I made 4 braids total, 2 that were shades of green and 2 that were black and white. And then I'm going to take more of that Aleene's glue, the tacky glue, and I'm going to spread that on her head and lay down more of that wool for felting. And for the last section of her hair, you're going to want to put it the other direction, the opposite direction, and then fold it back. So you're going to put it going the way you don't want it to lay, and then just fold it over and it'll set and it'll create a really nice part appearance. So just lay that down and then fold it over, and then let that glue dry for about 24 hours or overnight. It doesn't have to be 24 hours, 12 hours overnight. And then trim her hair, give her a haircut, measure around her head with some wire to create her hat. This is going to be the first part that goes around her head, and then create another loop that's a little bit, quite a bit wider, and do that and fold that wire together so it creates nice circles. And then I'm going to be cutting a square, 3 squares of material that are the same as the circumference of the smaller circle. The first one, fold in half, corner to corner, and then half again, and then sew it up so that it's nice and creates this nice little cone. So sew up the side, the cut side, and then trim that off, and then you have the top of her hat, turn that inside out so that the sewn edge is inside. Put the ring inside of it, fold the edge over just a little bit, and then sew around the wire ring, just around and around and around and around, and that's going to attach the ring to the hat and give it a really nice solid shape, and that's what's going to be fitting on top of her head. And so once you have that done, I just pinned the other ring inside those other 2 squares of material, just like so, and then I'm going to be sewing once again around and around on that one, just so that I wanted all of this to have a minimum of 2 layers of material. The spiderweb material that I have isn't it's very light and lacy looking, which is wonderful, don't get me wrong, it's awesome, it's so pretty, but it doesn't quite give a solid black hat effect. So that's why I did it 2 layers the whole way around here, and just keep sewing. And I am somebody that will not sew unless it's the only option, and that's the case here. It's really the only option, which is unfortunate. So then I just trimmed off, after that was all sewn together, trimmed off the excess material, and then I'm going to sew the 2 sides together. And the other thing I want to say is in this entire video, all I used was no fray fabric. Whew, that is a tongue twister. And that's going to make it so that you can cut the edges and you don't have to worry about them fraying all over the place, which is fantastic. Once you have those 2 pieces sewn together, cut out the center, and that way you can spread some glue on there and stick it to her head. Hold it until it's pretty dry, so it's like a minute or so, and I'm going to be measuring the length of, or the width of how big I need it to go around her body to create the bodice part of her dress. And I'm going to cut a square or a rectangle that's of the spiderweb material that's just slightly longer and slightly wider, and I'm going to fold that around to create nice smooth edges, wrap that around her body with hot glue. I'm going to glue as I go, just make sure that it's all nice and secure on there, and then glue that in place. And I'm somebody that's not shy with hot glue. I love hot glue. I'm not too worried about getting burnt. I've done it. It's not been the end of the world. If you don't like hot glue, you can use more of that tacky glue. It's just going to take a little while longer to set. And then for her skirt, I measured how long it needed to be, and then I gathered it around the top. And then I'm just going to wrap that around her and glue that in place again with the seam down the back. And I want the skirt, as I said, I gathered it, but I want it to be smoother across the front, so I made sure all the gathers were focused at the back of her. I'm going to repeat the same process for the spider webs. So I'm just going to gather the material, wrap that around my witchy with some hot glue. And you can hot glue the spiderweb fabric. It just shows really bad. It's obviously that there's hot glue because it's a lace. The hot glue comes through it, but it's okay that that shows because I then wrapped her, I gave her like a little corset around her stomach area with a really pretty shiny black material, and so I'm just going to fit that on there like so, and then that just finishes off the entire dress and makes it look really nice. So I'm going to put her legs through the base, bend the wires in a little bit, add some hot glue, stick her down, then she's good. Put some more of that liquid nails glue on the bottom of your frogs, stick those on there. Put liquid nails on top of your stick, put the feathers on, wrap it with some more of that black fabric, and then I'm going to glue on my little potion bottles, glue her necklace on her with more of that tacky glue, and then I'm going to glue the end of her stick to the little nightlight with my tacky glue so that I can press on that to turn on the light. And that is it. Thank you so much for watching. If you would like to see the other parts of this video and this tutorial, just check the description box, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!